I heal. I read tarot cards, and I'm pretty good at that. I do this amazing poetry that I want to bring. I want to develop this workshop and bring the inner child out in women. And I want to heal the world one woman at a time. I really do. I want to build a sisterhood. I imagined today when I was in the shower that, oh my gosh, if I travel around the world
Good morning, good morning, good morning. You are tuned in to the Urban Conservative. I'm Chaz Neal, activist based in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And we're being brought to you today by the Leon Block Independent Media. And with me, I have my co-host, John Tell Tolan, and an executive.
Grand Rising, everybody. Grand Rising, how y'all doing?
Here at the Leon Block Independent Media, we are all about transparency, truth, and accountability. The Urban Conservative is all about the news on the streets, gun violence, crime, politics, and how we solve our community's most hardest issues. How can we change our communities for the better? Let's get back to family, community, foundational roots. Let's make sure nobody gets left behind. Shut up and help. Today's Wednesday. Perfect, title for today. You know what I'm saying? Because it's what we seen last night was definitely wild. But Trump announcing that he is running for re-election.
Yeah, I just saw you put that in. So talk about that real quick.
It's crazy to me that, and I can't even really say that it's crazy, but it just shows that there's two types of justices in America. There's two types of systems, period. Because Anthony Davis, and I'm not really sure who he is, tweeted this 12 hours ago. It's about our U.S. Constitution. And again, Republicans are so about our Constitution. It is Amendment 14, Section 3. No person shall be a president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. Now, what is that? What do people think that means? Like, do they not see that he was a part of an insurrection? Or like, there's no So literally, you can blame the people that they want to blast all over the internet, but they don't want to blast the leader.
Right.
Make it make sense to me, because it's okay for y'all to do that out here, but it's not okay to do it to a white man. That's what's crazy to me, because I think about Jeffrey Epstein.
Right.
And the trickle-down effect. Where has that even gone? There has been no trickle-down effect.
Nope.
Because I know that man was with sickos that hold office today. But yet we want to get mad at R. Kelly. Y'all want us to get mad at Bill Cosby.
Right.
That's what's
I'm sorry, but these niggas that trickle in the bucket compared to all the other ones that actually are doing damage collectively. These niggas ain't doing shit compared to them. So until we hold them accountable, I don't even want to talk about it. I can give a fuck. That's my thing of it is of like, how are we supposed to go? This is what I don't understand, and people have to make it make sense to me. Of how do we not go fight a system every day that we know is against us at every turn? And instead of looking the other way, which most people do, fight it. We got to stand up and rise, because our babies aren't being protected. Bro.
Our lives aren't being protected. Nobody cares about us. Nobody cares about us. We gotta be the change.
Talk about it. So when it comes to this new election, how do you think we do that at this point? Like, you know, the what's this called? The midterm elections, they just came and went.
Right.
Where do people that still want to consider themselves Democrat or don't know what party they belong in or are not voting, like what do we do with this? Like, where do we go here, you know?
Honestly, I think this is the time for Black people to stand up, and we can finally make an impact. Just like with the civil rights movement back in the 60s. This is our time, and we need to stop sitting on the couch and start getting up, because I think a lot of people took for granted that after George Floyd, people would do the right thing.
Right.
Instead of us having to beg and be called terrorists, anarchists, that I ain't never did none of that. I ain't never lit up nothing. I ain't never burned nothing. I ain't never busted no windows.
Right.
All I've ever did is peacefully protest.
Right.
But I'm the one that's been abused, traumatized, and yet I've seen $26 million. $26 million being paid to cops for post-traumatic stress disorder for the things that they had to go through.
I'm done.
Are the things that they seen during the uprising.
I wish I could get some of that money for the things I fucking went through.
You know what? That's what's crazy to me, because and I want people to this our city council
changed me, bro. 2020 fucking changed me, and I have even more PTSD because of this shit I went through in 2020. Because of the things I was fighting for, I didn't destroy shit. Am I getting money for PTSD and therapy? Fuck no. That shit fucked me up. 2020 and 2021 fucked me up.
You know, the crazy thing of it is, for me, is this that these officers for the uprising that they had never seen. That's how you know these motherfuckers were never from around no bad areas, that they were not from the areas that they police, because we see this shit every day.
Yep.
We see this shit every day. So how are we not traumatized? That's what I will never fucking understand about our government, about politics, about people that say they're out here for the people, but yet will vote and give police that. And this is, and I didn't even know this. I only learned this last night about these police payouts. I mean, I knew about it, but I didn't know the full details of it. And so a lot of these that were paid out were newly officers. And they took a payout for the rest of their lives. So literally these so you got to figure 26 million between, I think it's about 100 or my bad 200 and some officers right now. And we're paying them $26 million for the rest of their lives. Taxpayer money
for the rest of their lives.
Yep. So some got as big as like 387,000 settlement.
So you killed my son, but I have to pay you for the trauma you went through for killing my fucking son.
Yep. And what's even more crazy is, you know, people talk about, oh, Derek Chauvin got what he deserved. No, he didn't. Because he's making $60,000 a year sitting in prison. He's got a pension.
It's fucking nuts.
That is $5,000 a month pension. That taxpayers gotta pay. I can't necessarily say it's that way, but because they put into a pension, but so does the city. And that's taxpayer money. That's our money that we put into these officers. And this is the thing of it is, because I'm not saying that. I know people that say they're about abolitionists, or they're about this, they're about that. I will say this: until we can fully get the change that we need in our streets, we can't get rid of police.
See, I'm about abolishing the police, but I'm about defunding the police so that we can abolish the police.
But and I also explain defund because
right. I also understand that there is not going to be any abolition in my lifetime, but I want some defunding in my lifetime and seeing the fruits of that labor so that my children can have abolition maybe in their lifetime.
Well, see, but that's the whole purpose. That's the whole purpose of this, of us fighting, is for the simple fact of that it's not it's not for us. The things that we're doing now is for the future, because some of the things that we're fighting for we'll never be able to feel, but know that the cement, that foundation was laid down for it to prosper tomorrow, for the future generations. So that's why I honestly fight the way that I do, with the passion that I do, is because I see what's happening out here to our youth, to our kids, and it sickens me that politics plays such a big part of this, because somebody
that way as a distraction. We're in 2022, but we're still acting like it's 1776. Why is that? It causes such a disruptance, and it keeps people from actually getting the real issues done. And I'm not saying there isn't any purpose that is served by having elections. However, we need to be serious about it and stop half-stepping. And you brought up, were you asking about defunding the police?
Yeah, you got to explain that, because I will say, to me, that when I hear defund the police,
sure,
that doesn't bug me at all, right? Because I was behind that movement, but uneducatedly I was behind that.
I gotta put you on, bro. So we on the Leon block, before we had the different shows, we did a special. There's a brother of mine that's a part of, I forget the name of the entity, but they I'm finding the video now. They had this whole slideshow, and I'm gonna find the link to it when I get a chance. But they came out with this slideshow that explains defunding the police.
But see, nobody ever explained. That's the whole point that I'm trying to get to.
Right.
Is that nobody ever explained what defund the police was, because that's all you heard.
Right.
You didn't hear about allocating. And see, that this is the thing about it, is because it's not actually defunding, because we want the same police budget.
It's reallocating.
The only difference is we want it allocated to other services.
Right.
That's what. See, that's why I don't call it defund the police. It's about refunding our communities. And
but it actually, we are defunding.
See, you can't. But see, here's the thing of it is, you can't beat from coming from, and this is the thing. It scares black people.
Exactly, but just like Black Lives Matter, just like the statement Black Lives Matter in itself scares white people, when it's very simple. And if you listen to what it's saying, it's a no-brainer. So is defund the police, and there's nothing we can take back. That the phrase is out there now, so we're stuck with it. We just have to explain it, just like Black Lives Matter. You know what I mean? We took a stance that said, you don't get it. Black lives matter. Does my life not matter to you? Obviously your life matters too as a white person, but we're talking about black lives. Obviously, abolition is something that we can't have right now, but defunding the police says exactly what it is. And I think that people get so hung up on the phrasing that they're not wanting to talk about the actual issues that it.
No, because we have to talk about the wordage.
Go ahead.
We have to talk about the wordage, because here's the thing of it is, and this is my whole thing with it, because it's all about words. Mm-hmm. It's all about words. And when I see, this is the thing of it is, a lot of people in poor communities are undereducated.
Right.
So when they hear words like defund, we all know what defund means. That means take away. Mm-hmm. Right, because we see it in our communities all the time. They raise the police budgets, but they take away from everything else, because there's no youth programs. But police got brand new shiny military vehicles. They got the brand new guns, drones, but our kids are suffering. So that's why I say to get away from defund, because we need to refund our communities. It's not about, because everything that, even with defund the police, even with get rid of allocating money to other departments, to other services, it's still about public safety. And that's the main goal about all of this is about public safety. And public safety is mental health, homelessness, mental health, homelessness, the violence, economics, public education. That's all has a part of public safety.
Like that there.
Right. I get what you're saying, but I'm saying
I'm just saying this is a really good tool for people to check out this episode, because it helps to break down and explain what the phrase defund the police means, what abolition means, and how, for people that want to know what it means and how it can be done, this gives a step-by-step play on how it can be done and how we get to the road to it. You know what I mean? So even for you, it's a great. It's really simple, but also detailed. It's really dope. And I just put the slide up and run through each slide and talk about each one, and do it in an episode like we do it generally. And it's really great. So I put it in the comment section for everybody to check out. I highly suggest it.
No, and I don't have I agree with the plan behind it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I just hate the headline with it.
Right.
That's the only thing with it. Like, and I think it really throws people off.
Yeah.
Because we have such short attention spans nowadays. Like, that's why TikTok is 3 minutes. You know what I'm saying? You can't keep people interested in talk shows anymore. Because if there's not excitement, if there's not drama, you can't entice people with education.
I think they said that Americans' attention span is like 5 to 7 or 10 minutes, something like that now.
Yeah, and
so in a TV show, you have to keep re-engage people every 15 minutes,
right?
Or they're going to tune out.
And it's crazy that you even bring that up, because if you look at like analytics for our videos and see like the retention span of people, it really trips me out, because I'll look at some of the videos with a lot of action, and the retention time is a good anywhere between 10 to 12 minutes. But when do videos like this, lives, and it's talking about we're educating people, the retention time is like 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. So it already shows me that if people aren't, they're like, oh, I don't want to hear this bullshit. But motherfuckers see a motherfucker protesting and they see police all riot gear. Ooh, yep, I'm staying tuned. Or I pull up to a scene and start filming, or I'm at a protest filming and something cracks. That's how most of us even became famous. I'll say it, famous. Not even saying it, but our 15 minutes. Our little 15 minutes, because I'm sure like Soup's been on CNN, you know what I'm saying? I've been on the Shade Room, I've been all over, done interviews with European media, Canadian media, African media. Like, it's crazy of like the things that and connections that people made over the uprising during the trials. I mean, it really, I hate the term using woke, but I think what happened to George Floyd got a lot of people's attention.
Yeah.
But because we have short attention spans,
right,
and we're so quick to run off to the next new adventure,
right? It's the next thing that shocks us to feel something more so, because we have to go from dramatic event to dramatic event to keep us feeling alive, because we're so stuck on our computer screens and working and eating and being on autopilot that we need things like the way the news feeds us. And they made our society this way, so we can't like be mad at ourselves. However, this is the reality. It's just
right. It is our reality. We just gotta, at this point, deal with it and change it for the future.
That part. I feel like since 2020, that was something that definitely woke enough people up, enough people to know that they can go and activate other people. Hence us.
I can't. You know what's crazy is I disagree. Because if we really were woke, we would, the things that are happening right now with the Supreme Court,
I'm not talking about everybody. I'm talking about a few of us, like you and me.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
Despite all odds, we still here doing what we're doing,
Barely.
But going on 3 years later.
Right. We're gonna keep on doing it.
Facts.
We're gonna take a small commercial break. And when we come back, we are gonna talk about another type of injustice when it comes to our judicial system and our kids when we come back. So We'll be right back, and you are tuned in to the Urban Conservative.
Get your life is here. You are free if you believe. Get up and see. There ain't no we. There ain't no future seed. If we all don't get up and believe. Believe in the air, the earth, the fire, water, mother, the children. Believe in the trust. Believe in love. Believe in the trust of love. It is enough. Don't let them screw with you. You know what to do. When they say no, tell them who said ho. Get your clothes, grab your bags, and hit the road. Don't surround yourself with those who project throws along bouts of negatives and no codes, living off of so-and-so. You deserve more. You have so much in store. Let go of the past. The past don't last. The last, let it go. The past, let it go. And don't let your fear show. Grab a hold of your life. I said hit the road. You are worth it. You deserve it. You deserve life, freedom, justice, respect. You deserve love. It's your life. Radiate the shit, y'all. We gotta lift each other from the bottom up. We are all mother's children. Get your life. It's here.
No.
Yo. We are back. We are back on the Urban Conservative. What we're going to talk about next is children pornography. There's a case out of Fillmore County, which is Preston, Spring Valley, smaller area in southern Minnesota. And it really trips me out that we and this is, thank you for Alpha News as well, for really talking about this. So Rick James Gavin, 49-year-old, huh?
I said I'm Rick James, bitch.
Right. Who is a 49-year-old man, was charged in September 2021 with 2 counts of using minors in pornography and 10 counts of possessing child pornography. The complaint says he took videos of 2 victims, one under the age of 10 and another under the age of 7, and then superimposed of images of genitalia over screenshots of the video. He also created a video of himself masturbating the images of the 2 victims.
Oh my God.
Right. The victims referred to Gavin as Pooh Bear, and one of them had been to his house. In addition, Gavin was in possession of sexually graphic images of nude children, the complaint says. The images included a victim as young as 1 year old, according to the complaint. Under a plea bargain, Gavin pleaded guilty to 1 possession count, and the remaining 11 counts were dismissed. Records show he was also granted a stay of imposition by Judge Matthew Opat, meaning his conviction was reduced to a misdemeanor if he successfully completes his 10 years of probation. Now, what trips me out about this is 11 charges were dropped. Now, he was charged with 12. But what I don't understand is how out of the 12 they drop the least with any kind of really time with it, with any kind of responsibility, any kind of accountability.
He's free to continue to do what he does as long as he doesn't get caught again.
Right. And then to put it down to a misdemeanor. Down to a misdemeanor. What the fuck is going on? That's failed democratic policies. There's actually, if you go down, bro, there's a video in this from Shatter, Minnesota. And I haven't watched it, but for it to be on here, I think it's something that we should watch.
Yeah, let's
because former governor Mark Dayton is the one that added this OPAC.
Every child experience, image and video is a crime.
Oh damn, 25 minutes. We ain't gonna watch
it.
Yeah,
we'll share the link and everything.
Right.
The film you're about to watch is a wake-up call. Too often, these crimes are never detected or reported. Even when the child predators in Minnesota are caught producing, trading, or viewing child sexual abuse imagery, they are rarely severely punished. Why? Because Minnesota has some of the weakest sentencing guidelines for convicted users of child sexual abuse imagery in the United States.
I didn't even know this.
Me either.
Is Minnesota becoming a catch and release state for predators? Is Minnesota becoming a sanctuary state for vicious criminals? How can this be? How can a state like Minnesota, which claims to care about its children, continue releasing these predators back on the streets where they can harm more children?
Ooh.
For the next few minutes, you will hear from law enforcement, mental health professionals, and a victim's mother whose daughter was groomed and violated by a trusted adult man. You will hear about the child sexual abuse problem in Minnesota that can no longer be ignored.
Damn.
And from someone on our team, they shared on to the Leon Block Facebook page about, and I forgot to mention this, and we will talk about it more on Revolution News Link. Maryland Attorney General's investigation of child sex abuse in Catholic Archdiocese of Baltimore nears completion. The Maryland Attorney General's office's 4-year investigation into the Archdiocese of Baltimore's history of child sex abuse at the hands of Catholic priests is almost finished. A spokesperson for Attorney General Brian Frosh told the Baltimore Sun the investigation is near completion, but declined to share details. A criminal investigator for the office, former FBI agent Richard Wolf, has contacted many abuse survivors in recent weeks to tell them the report is close to done. So that's it could be bad news or could be good news depending on the verdict as to how it'll come out. However, history has shown that these people get no penalizing either.
Man, wait, because I want people to watch this next story that I just sent you, because it's about a Kansas City detective who is accused of helping run a sex trafficking operation.
What?
Yeah.
All right.
And this is a police officer who's supposed to serve and protect. So former detective Roger Gablowski and the 3 other men are accused in a scheme to use beatings and other types of assault to keep young women captive in an apartment where they were forced to have sex with men, federal prosecutors said. Gablowski and 3 other men, Cecil Brooks, Lamarck Roberson, and Richard Robinson, are all charged with conspiracy against rights and 1 count of involuntary servitude. We all know what that means, according to court records. Now that's it's crazy that they use that word, because states do it all the time. So how is it okay for? Well, obviously it's not okay because they're charging them. So why aren't we charging Tim Walz? why aren't we charging Governor Evers? Why aren't we charging some of these governors that are holding innocent people in prison? Isn't that involuntary servitude? Just saying, that's what y'all vote for. I'm just wondering, because they do it to white people, why can't they do it for us? I want people to really think about that.
That
I
part.
really want people to think about this shit, because I'm gonna send you another story that happened yesterday, that a man was denied parole in Minneapolis for the murder of a Minneapolis police officer some years ago. There it goes. So I just want to show there's two types of justices in America, and it's crazy to me how people don't see this. So that is Mr. McKenzie, who
The new iPhone 14.
convicted in 1992 of a deadly shooting of a police officer, Jerry Haft, in 1992. He was 19 years old, so 49 now.
A gang member convicted of killing a Minneapolis police officer 30 years ago loses his case for parole.
Pepe McKenzie conspired in the ambush killing of Jerry Hoff in 1992. His sentence at the time makes him eligible for parole, but Hoff supporters and law enforcement believe he should stay locked up. Our Paul Bloom joining us now. So, Paul, it was a big decision today.
Kelsey and Randy, that's the fascinating process here in Minnesota. Back when Officer Jerry Hoff was gunned down in cold blood, a murder conviction of a police officer in this state gave inmates a possibility of release after they served 30 years behind bars. Pepe McKenzie has now done that. Today, he asked for his release. The head of the Department of Corrections said no.
He knew everybody in the place. And then this happens. Totally unexpected, caught him off guard.
Rich Stanek, then a young detective with the Minneapolis Police Department, worked the Jerry Hoff investigation 30 years ago. The gang ambush attack on Officer Hoff in a popular Lake Street pizza joint still disgusts Stanek today, and he is of the belief that a life sentence means a life sentence for all convicted.
And they absolutely knew what they had done that day. It was an execution-style killing. There was no mercy shown to Officer Jerry Hoff or others in the restaurant that night.
But others now argue that a then 19-year-old Vice Lord gang member deserves a second chance. Family and supporters insist Pepe McKenzie has done his time. Now 49, they argue he is rehabilitated, remorseful, and worthy of release from the prison in Lino Lakes, where he is currently housed.
This is a great test to see if we really want to rehabilitate people or just want to punish.
Arthur Martinez was McKenzie's trial attorney, still keeps courtroom sketches on his office wall.
I'm disgusted at the way this reporter is reporting this story.
Yeah, that's Paul Bloom. You know, this is the thing when it comes to Minneapolis media, mainstream media, fucking period, how they talk about black people. Because, and I just want to say something, because this is I don't even know who Rich Stanek is. I know he used to be the Hennepin County Sheriff, but some of his words, and because he has served his minimum sentence that was given to him by the state of Minnesota, meaning he served 30 years. As you know, at the time, it was 30 years to life for the murder of a police officer. He has barely served the minimum amount of time, and we're already considering releasing him from prison. No, I do not think so. Now, they don't talk about Kim Potter like that, who took a life. So why don't that life mean the same? Why doesn't Dante's life mean the same as Jerry Haft's? Because that was a 26-year vet. 26-year vet who wants to say that she was improperly trained. Well, I would like to say that Mr. I don't want to get his last name wrong. Mackenzie was young, dumb, and he served 30 years. How hasn't he not paid his debt to society? Because we have officers that are still on the force that are out here doing bullshit, that have done bullshit. So I don't want to hear that, because don't throw stones when you live in a glass house. And at this point, that's what it is for everybody, because and that's one thing that I like about the new chief. And he stated this last night, that if he had to fire every officer on the force, he would rather do that than to normalize what the fuck is going on in Minneapolis, and to say that because he's short-staffed is the reason. Fuck that. He doesn't want to normalize that. I like the fact that, and I'm not saying that he's going to make all the changes. I'm not going to say he's going to come in here and be fucking Batman, Superman. And honestly, last night, those were just words. But if people actually did their research on Mr. O'Hara, and it's still ACAB, but those words that he speaks, Mr. O'Hara wants to get rid of them bad cops so that we can get change in our streets. Mm-hmm. And I know this is the people that are listening. Some of y'all are like, as I said, that fuck the police. We don't need them. I agree with you, but I also disagree with babies that are being murdered.
Right.
So until we can come to a compromise, because I will say this, and regardless, that I'm not going to say about this about every abolitionist, and I'm sorry if I said that wrong. Abolitionist, thank you. That all y'all ain't by any means necessary, because if y'all were really by any means necessary, then y'all would be out here with us trying to do street teams so that we can combat this gun violence and protect our communities, like the Black Panthers. Because we're about self-defense. We're about protecting our own, because if the police aren't going to do it, which they show every day, then who's going to do it? It's got to be us. Mm-hmm. We have to protect our neighbor. We have to protect our family members. We got to stop. We put a faith in a system that doesn't care about us. That doesn't care about us because we see it. You know, I learned something new last night at this Jordan with they have a trash burning recycling bin or some shit, but it's over north. And it's 45 cities garbage comes in there and burns. And the only time that motherfucker stops running is when the Twins are playing.
Damn.
That's a baseball. Yeah, man. And all the stuff that it puts into the air. That's why so many kids over north have asthma. And that's why the air quality is so bad over here. Mm. I never see, and that's why I love learning, because I learn something new every day.
That is environmental racism, my brother.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't even know that there are so many things that they do to.
You ever heard of us. Oh yeah. You ever heard of Cancer Alley?
No, I haven't.
Louisiana, look it up, Cancer Alley. And also, yeah, when it comes to redline communities, there's lots of ways that they find to redline us. It's not just, fencing us in, but there's physical barriers that they use, like cutting off transportation or providing only one source of transportation. But then they'll also use physical barriers like highways, especially low train lines with low clearances, so that bus transportation cannot get into those communities.
Right.
They'll leave L lines and train lines dilapidated, which is a reflection of the lack of funding, but that's strategic as well to leave people to themselves and not provide them the resources that they need to continue to thrive and grow. It's very strategic in the way that it happens, but people will argue that it's just the way that it's unfolded. I think it's a little bit of both. However, again, there are lots of many different ways that they put barriers up. It's not just physical, it's mental as well. If you're taking resources out of a community, you're taking away a mental barrier for them to be able to lift themselves up.
Well, yeah, I sit there and I think about Jackson, Mississippi, or with the water crisis. And it's like, what are people really, really paying attention to? Because shit, it ain't what's going on in your communities. That's for damn sure. Definitely is fuckers ain't paying attention. Definitely ain't paying attention, because the shit that we fall for.
But like I said, when you take away certain things from people, it leaves them blind. And when you put blinders on people, a lot of times some people just choose not to, or it's easier to not use your other senses to navigate yourself.
No, I get that, but it just sickens me to see what goes on and the things that we vote for, the way that we vote, the things that we think are going to help, and without even reading it. You know what I'm saying? We just go with shit without even reading it. It's like nobody wants to read the fine print anymore. Nobody wants to read the fine print, because we get so pumped off the headline that we don't even want to read the context.
Also, that goes back to attention span, though.
It does. Very true.
And that is
very, very true.
Right.
Very true. That's how edibles was legalized here in Minnesota, because the Republicans didn't read the bill.
Right, right.
And now you have cities trying to cover it up by, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, because they weren't ready for it.
Right.
Because nobody read the bills. But that also just showed a lot too, though. And people still aren't even awake to it. It's just like with the Feeding Our Futures scam. You still have nonprofits that were a part of that, but they've been named publicly, but they haven't been charged, but yet still asking for money. Still open. Some of these names are still in these nonprofits, are still elected officials. And I will say this, that by any means necessary, I'm going to expose, because you're not going to come harm my community and think that Minneapolis police can protect you, that the nonprofits that the Minneapolis Foundation pays, or because you might give them a grant. I don't give a fuck about them either, because I'll expose their asses too. And I don't care if people don't listen. They're going to listen at some point. They're going to listen at some point, because I'm not going away. All that dirty shit with these nonprofit leaders out here talking about they're for the community, but drinking and driving on the weekends, going 80 in a 55, drunk. That's not protecting our community. You can't even say you respect our community if you can do shit like that.
Facts.
I'm tired of hearing that.
Even just talking about like you're going into a war zone, that in itself right there, just even saying that lets us know all we need to hear about your perception of our communities. And you're supposed to be safety and help keeping the peace. What kind of peace are you going to keep when you think you're going to a war zone?
Right. So that's why when people call it Murderapolis, why not act like it's Murderapolis? Y'all call it that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Our leaders call certain gas stations the murder station.
Wow.
So why don't I come off with a murderous ass attitude? Because y'all are part of the problem. And that's why they want to say, "Oh, you got so much anger."
You think?
Aren't we not out here on these streets? Because if we're both out here fighting the same thing, then how can we see it differently? How can you say that something's a success, but yet there's still a whole bunch of overdoses? Like, make it make sense to me. How is something a success because of one area maybe crime's gone down? It's not a success. We have to put measurements differently. And
We need to change our perception. We need to
right. You know what I'm saying? And that's the one thing of it is people need to do their research.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like with the whole fentanyl crisis right now, everybody, because you see all these lawsuits, settlements, Walgreens, Walmart, Madrina, Pfizer, maybe not Pfizer, whoever does opioids, but you see it in the billions. In the billions. And people want to be like, oh, yeah, it's such a help. No, it's not. It's going to the wrong shit. Not that it's not really ain't going to the wrong shit. It's that right now we're so past the opioid crisis from pharma, big pharma, that y'all forgetting about the illicit fentanyl that is running rampant through our communities. And then they don't even want to decipher what it is. They just want to call it fentanyl. They don't want to call the names that it really do have.
If it was running through an area that was 97% white and higher, they'd be looking at it very different.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Because they would put out great death. Okay, yep. Just because it hasn't been seen in Minnesota doesn't mean it hasn't been out there. It really shocks me of how people are so fear-mongered. Because like right now they found great death in Bloomington, Minnesota.
What is great death?
So great death is a mixture of fentanyl. Now see, but it's fural fentanyl, which is a mixture of carfentanil and actually pharma fentanyl, and then heroin and meth.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Now they're saying that it's
people are doing this?
Huh?
People are doing this?
Man, bro, listen. This is the one thing that our government doesn't want us to know, because I'll tell you right now, there's nobody in their right ass mind.
They don't want to put themselves through that. I just don't understand.
They don't see. That's the thing of it is, bro. People don't even know because they mask it up, and you can literally buy these machines that make tablets. So the little Xanny bars that they say are actual Xanax, no, it's not. This shit got out. You don't know what the fuck is in that.
Oh my God.
That's why I say that these and no disrespect to the elders, because I love y'all. I wouldn't be who I am without y'all. A lot of us wouldn't be here. Right. But y'all gotta get out the way, because this is a different fight. And the way that y'all spin the mainstream media's narratives and the police narratives is not helping our community any longer.
Facts.
It's not. We either have to be upfront and honest and deal with it, regardless if it's the good, the bad, the ugly, and regardless if it's going to fuck with your personal pockets. Because we are at war, and not the war everybody thinks that is coming. And you got any final notes today, Zantel?
Man, today was a really good talk. We talked about Trump. We talked about these child sex pornography abusers and how they get away with bloody murder. We talked about these cops in general that get away with bloody murder. We talked about defunding the police and abolition and what those mean. Definitely go check out that webisode that we did a few months ago on information concerning defunding the police, what that means, what it can look like, steps and tools to get us there. And man, I feel like this was a really good episode. It's Wild Out Wednesday, y'all. And thank you for tuning in and rocking with us. We appreciate y'all.
Always, always, always. And until next time, meditate through the pain and celebrate the ties that bond, liberate our people, educate our youth so we can stop the bloodshed. Be the change. Win or fail, freedom or jail, heaven or hell, wish me well.
Be blessed, y'all.